Dear students, today let us study the second poem of Class 12 English. The name of the poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Harold Spender. Stephen Harold Spender was an English poet, novelist and essayist. He declared himself to be a socialist and pacifist. Pacifist means one who is against war and violence. He was greatly influenced by socialist and communist ideologies. He was a member of the Communist Party of the Great Britain. Almost all of his works dealt with social injustice and class inequalities. The beautiful poem which we are going to study clearly depicts these themes. In this poem, he presents a true picture of slum school and slum children. He describes the miserable life of the slum children, the filthy and unhealthy life they lead. And when we read this poem, we understand the poet really has an ardent desire to uplift these poor children by providing quality education. Because he has a strong belief that these children also can become good citizens of this universe. When we read the last stanza of the poem, we see that the poet makes a frantic appeal to the educated and affluent sections of the society to provide quality and better education so that the social injustice and class inequalities can be wiped out from this universe. Now let us go to the poem and study in detail. In the first stanza, the poet describes the children in the slum school classroom. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed-down head, the paper-seeming boy with the rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bonds, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in the tree room, other than this. The first line says, far, far from gusty waves. The poet says that these slum children are far away, very far away from gusty waves. Gusty waves means strong winds. Here the gusty waves symbolizes bright side of human life, energetic, full of facility, enjoyment and happy, which is not found among the slum children. That's why the poet says they are far away from these things. They are far away from energy, joy, happy and positive sides of human life. And he says here, gusty waves, these children's faces like rootless weeds. When we look at these children's faces, the poet says they are like rootless weeds. You know the meaning of the weeds? Weeds, unwanted plants. And here we see a poetic device called simile is used. The children's faces are compared to rootless weeds, useless plants which are thrown away. So here the poet clearly says they are far away from gusty waves and they are just like unwanted and useless plants. And here is the next, he says, the hair torn round their pallor. The hair of the children, they are scattered. The children are not neat and tidy. We know the slum children, when they are completely shabby, the hairs are scattered here and there. And the poet clearly says the hair torn round their pallor. Pallor means pale face. Pale face because they are sick or afraid. And now he clearly, one by one, he describes the children. First he says the tall girl. Tall girl is there in the classroom. And the tall girl with her weighed down head. She keeps her head down and sits in the class. Weighed down head. Weighed down means she is sick and tired. The poet says that the girl is tired both physically and mentally. And that is why the poet says the tall girl with her weighed down head. The second child in the class is the paper-seeming boy with the rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bonds, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. So here the poet says the second child in the slum school classroom is a paper-seeming boy. Here the poetic device metaphor is used to describe the physical appearance of the boy. The boy is almost like a paper, very unhealthy and very thin. And then the poet says he has rat's eyes. Rat's eyes means that he is full of fear and hopelessness, because that is the life of slum children. Then the poet says that the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bonds. That means the boy does not have proper physical growth, and he is unlucky heir. Heir means follower of twisted bonds, reciting a father's gnarly disease. That means this twisted bonds, this genetic disease got from his father. So this unlucky boy got this disease from his father, and he is also in the classroom, slum school classroom, to learn something from his desk. Then he described the third child. The poet says, at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. We see that the poet used the word dim to describe the slum class. Dim means, no proper light. And the poet used this word deliberately to describe the class, and through that he describes the life of these slum children. Because in their life also there is no light or hope. And this third child is different from the other children. The poet says he is unnoted by everyone, and he is sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game. He is not disappointed and unhealthy like other children. He has some positive feeling in him. He is not completely affected by the filthy slum atmosphere. The squirrels are playing outside in the hollow part of the tree, and he was dreaming about that. And this unhealthy situation did not affect him much. And his eyes are full of energy, enjoyment, and happiness, not like the other slum children. Now let us study the second stanza of the poem. On sour cream walls, donations. Shakespeare's head, cloudless set it down, civilized dome riding our cities, belled, flowery Tirolese valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, caves, and stars of words. In the second stanza, the poet describes few pictures hung on the slum classroom wall. In the first line, the poet says, on sour cream walls. Sour means unpleasant, pale. I think the poet has used this word to describe the classroom very deliberately, because the classroom is looking very unpleasant, just like the slum children's life. And on that sour cream walls, few pictures are hung. First, the poet says, picture of Shakespeare was hung on that slum classroom wall. Then, picture of Tirolese Valley. Tirolese Valley is a very beautiful place in Austria, which is famous for its beautiful landscape. And on that Tirolese Valley picture, we can see sun rising without any cloud. It is very beautiful there. And there they have also shown huge and amazing, wonderful buildings are there on that Tirolese Valley. The third picture pasted on that classroom wall was a map. The poet describes the map like open-handed map awarding the world its world. The poet says that this map is made by the people in power and position. And in that map, the slum children have no place. And the poet says, and yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world. He says that these children do not have any place in the map made by the powerful people in possession. Only these slum classroom windows are the world of these children. They will never reach in that world, the world of developed, rich and powerful people. And he says, these windows, not this map, where These children, their future, it is painted with the fog. So in this stanza, we can see he has used the unpleasant words like sour, and here he is using fog, because it shows the life of these children are full of uncertainty, hopeless, miserable, and poor. The slum children's life is limited or confined in the narrow street. The next line he says, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, caves, and stars of words. Poet says that these children will never reach that beautiful world. They will never become part of that world. Their life is confined or limited in the narrow street which is covered by very grey sky, which is far away from rivers, caves, and stars of words. Means their life is far away from this natural, beautiful world. Rivers, caves, stars of words. Stars of words means wisdom and knowledge. They will never get all these things in their life. Their life will end up in the foggy street. Third stanza. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with the ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that slyly turn in their crammed halls, from fog to endless nights. On their slag heap these children wear skins peeped through by bonds and spectacles of steel, with a mended glass, like bottle beads on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with the slums as big as doom. Here we see the poet becomes quite emotional and rebellious because of his humane feeling towards the fellow human being. That if something is not done, these people will end up their life in this foggy slum. So that is why the poet says that Shakespeare is wicked. Wicked means cruel, because these children are far away from basic facilities of human existence. They even do not have proper food to eat. So for these people, the literary creativity of Shakespeare is of no use. And then he says the map which is hung on the wall is a bad example for the children, because with the ships, sun and love tempting them to steal. Here he says ships and sun and love. These three words represent the sophisticated, developed world outside. These children are far away from all those sophisticated world outside. That is why the poet says the map is a bad example, because when they see this developed world, they may take some wrong means to achieve or to enjoy the happiness of the beautiful world. That is why the poet says the map is a bad example, because by looking at the map, these poor children, these slum children, may become thieves to achieve all those things. Then in the coming lines, the poet once again describes the slum children's condition, living condition. He says that for lives that slyly turn in their cramped halls from fog to endless night. Slyly means secretly. Cramped halls means narrow halls, and from fog to endless night. So these children, without getting or knowing this developed, sophisticated world, they end their life in the cramped halls, means the slum. And he's telling their life is almost like from fog to endless night. Already he has used the word fog, is uncertainty. And then he says from fog to endless night. Endless night means death. So their life is like full of uncertainty from their birth till their death. Then the poet says, on their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bonds. On their slag heap, because slum is a dirty area, dirty and congested. And there, these children wear skins peeped through by bonds. Because of the malnutrition, unhealthy living condition, they are very thin, and the bonds are visible through the skins of the slum children. And the spectacles of steel with the mended glass, the specs they use, are damaged many times and they have repaired it several times. And then he says the slum children, they're like bottle bits on stones, bottle pieces on the stone. That is how the slum children live. And all of their time and space are foggy slum. From birth to death, these slum children, they are far away from dignified, civilized life outside. They completely spend their life and end up in this foggy, dirty slum. And here he says, so blot their maps with the slums as big as doom. So if the people in power do not do anything for these children, what will happen? The slums will become as big as doom. Doom means hell. Here the poet urges them to do something. Otherwise, these slum children will become a humiliation or shame for the world outside. In the last stanza, the poet makes a frantic appeal. He comes out with a solution. What should be done to lift these poor children from their dirty slum? Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open, history theirs, whose language is the sun. In the last stanza, the poet makes an appeal to the governor, inspector, visitor, and teacher. He says that if these people provide them good quality education to the deprived slum children, these children will become part of that sophisticated map which is hung on the slum classroom. He says this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon the lives like catacombs. He says that if they get quality good education, these children also will become part of that developed map. This map becomes their window, and these windows here means the dirty window in the slum school classroom that shut upon their lives like a catacombs. Catacombs means underground graveyard. He uses this word to describe the dingy slum. He says when they get opportunities to learn like the other children, surely these children will come out of their miserable life. And for that, he requests them to take these children outside the slum and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books. Here the poet uses beautiful and wonderful images of the world outside, like green fields, gold sands, and run naked into books, the white and the green leaves. So when they are taken out of the slums, when they get good quality education, when they see this beautiful world outside, they will learn a lot. They will surely lead a civilized, better life like other children, not like the slum children. And for that, these children should be taken out of their slums. So when they are taken out of the slums and give them good education, give them books, give them facilities, they will learn, they will become educated. And when he says, show the children to green fields, means good atmosphere is needed to learn. Good living condition is also required. And when the poet says, run azure on gold sands, here he hints the economic requirements they should get. That means the slum children should also get equal opportunity and facility like the other children. And when he says that next, the white and green leaves open, here the white leaves means the books they should read, books that should be provided to the children. And when he says the green leaves, means the nature, the beautiful universe. Then in the last line, he makes a very beautiful comment. History theirs whose language is the sun. Mean the history is made by the people who has the power and energy like that of a sun. Or indirectly he says that when these slum children get good education, they will create a new history. They will become part of the sophisticated map. They will not become part of that dirty and dingy slum. They will surely come outside. In short, he says when these children get freedom, facility, and economic facilities and opportunities, surely they will become like the children outside, or they will become part of this developed world. So, with this hope, the poet Stephen Spender concludes this beautiful poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. If you read these stanzas and go through the explanations, I hope you will understand it. Thank you.